Hello, I'm Ingrid, and I'm 27 years old. I was orphaned at a very young age after both my parents passed away in a car crash. Since they had no family to look after me, I was placed in an orphanage. I stayed there for about 3 years before I was adopted. My adoptive parents turned out to be billionaires, so my life after that was rich, emotionally and financially. They never made a big deal about adopting me. In fact, they preferred to keep it private. They wanted to help quietly, without drawing attention. Once I became an adult and moved into my own place, my parents decided to expand their business and began touring Europe for new opportunities. Around that same time, I met Patrick, my now ex-husband. We met in college and instantly clicked. After just a few conversations, I realized how kind, carefree, and genuinely caring he was. Before long, our dates turned into a serious relationship. For a while, everything felt perfect, but there was one problem. Patrick's family did not like me at all. The first time I met them was shortly after Patrick and I graduated from college. He waited until we both had stable jobs before introducing me to his parents. He warned me beforehand that they were extremely judgmental when it came to the people their children dated, and he wanted me to make the best impression possible. I tried to stay calm, but meeting the parents had me completely on edge. By then, Patrick and I had already been dating for 4 years, and we were engaged, which I knew would shock them, since they had never met me before. The night before meeting them, I broke down. "They're going to hate me, Patrick," I said. "They won't," he insisted, "I promise." "Won't they freak out when they hear we're engaged?" "Well, yeah, but I don't think it'll be that big of a deal." I stared at him in disbelief. "You were scared to introduce me at all because you know how judgy they are, and now you think telling them I'm your fiancé will somehow make this easier?" He sighed. "Even if they judge you, why should it matter? It won't matter to me. You know that. I just want you to relax, Ingrid." "Fine," I said slowly, "but maybe we shouldn't tell them we're engaged yet. We could wait a month or so. If it makes things easier, I'm okay with that." "Then let's keep it a secret for now. I'll do anything to get on their good side." "You have nothing to worry about," he said gently. "I'll be with you the whole time." The truth was, I only freaked out because every time I suggested Patrick tell his parents about me, he panicked about their reaction. Eventually, I understood why. Patrick's family was extremely wealthy, proud, and obsessed with social status. They believed their children should only date people who were equally rich or richer, compared to their standards. My lifestyle seemed modest, and I never had the chance to explain my background. I didn't want them to like me because of my parents' money. I wanted them to like me for who I was. I truly believed they would. I was wrong. We met his parents at a fine dining restaurant. Patrick held my hand tightly as we walked in. I hid my engagement ring on a necklace to avoid drawing attention. When we arrived at the table, his parents already looked irritated. Patrick whispered that they hated lateness. Apparently, being 2 minutes late was enough to start things off badly. His parents eyed me up and down with clear disgust before ignoring me completely and talking only to Patrick. I shrank into my seat, wishing I could disappear. The longer they ignored me, the more I wanted to run out of the restaurant. Eventually, Patrick spoke up. "Mom, Dad, you can't just talk to me. This is my girlfriend, Ingrid." His mother looked at me and said, "Oh, hello. It's a pleasure to meet you, I suppose." His father didn't even pretend to be polite. "So, you two met in college, right?" "Yes," I said softly. "We shared a few classes." "And how exactly did you afford that college?" he asked. "From what I know, it's expensive and difficult to get into." "Dad, stop," Patrick snapped. "Patrick, don't speak to your father like that," his mother scolded. "He's asking a valid question. Ingrid, answer him." "I received a full scholarship," I explained. "I'm grateful for it. I learned a lot, and I got to meet Patrick, which has been one of the best things to happen to me." His mother scoffed. "Of course it's the best thing. He's loaded. You need someone with money. At least you have some brains, because your looks certainly won't get you far." That was the breaking point. "You know what? That's enough. We're leaving," Patrick said, standing up. He took my hand and stormed out with me. I didn't even know how to react. I was numb. I couldn't believe anyone could be that cruel so openly. The ride home was silent. Patrick was furious. I was just shocked. For weeks after that, Patrick refused to talk to his parents. They claimed we were disrespectful for walking out. Eventually, a month later, he texted them only to say we were engaged. They weren't happy, but he made it clear that if they insulted me again, he'd cut them off. They then offered to pay for our wedding, on the condition that they made every decision. Obviously, we said no and chose to elope instead. My parents were in Europe, but they were supportive and even sent us a gift, an expensive painting. Patrick raised an eyebrow, but I brushed it off. After we got married, the next time we saw Paula and Marley was at their anniversary party. I was actually hopeful they had invited me, after all. But the moment we arrived, I realized nothing had changed. Everyone ignored me, completely. If being ignored by 2 people felt uncomfortable, being ignored by 30 felt humiliating. Whenever I tried to speak, people stared me up and down and walked away. Others simply talked over me as if I wasn't there. By the end of the night, my eyes were filled with tears. Then Paula and Marley made their speech. They started by thanking almost everyone in the room for being part of their lives, taking a clear jab at me. They continued throwing small insults throughout their speech while the crowd laughed along. That was it for me. I stood up, walked out, ordered an Uber, and cried the entire ride home. By the time Patrick finally got home, I was still wiping tears from my face. He walked in looking furious. "Why did you walk out like that?" he snapped. "Do you know how embarrassing that was for me?" I stared at him, stunned. What are you talking about? Don't act clueless, Ingrid." I had to listen to my parents yell at me in front of everyone. Guests were literally pitying me for being with you. Are you serious right now? What about how embarrassing it was for me? Oh, come on, Ingrid, you could have handled it for one night. It was my parents' anniversary. I was ignored the entire evening. Your parents mocked me in their toast. How am I supposed to be okay with that? I'm not saying they were right, he said sharply, but you should have just dealt with it. I would have talked to them afterward. And what would that have changed? You've never been humiliated like that before. Everyone laughed at me. Of course, it's easy for you to say it's no big deal. He folded his arms. My parents expect an apology, and honestly, I want one too. I felt my heart drop. I'm not apologizing unless they apologize to me. And as for you, you always defended me. I don't understand why this is suddenly different. Because this time, you embarrassed my family in front of their guests. And your parents humiliated me, your wife, in front of the same guests. He glared at me. Maybe my parents were right about you. You're impossible. With that, Patrick walked out and slept in the guest room. I sat there, completely stunned. Why the sudden change? He had always defended me. He knew how his parents treated me. He knew I never complained, even when their comments were cruel. Walking out wasn't a tantrum, it was the only way I could protect myself. But he didn't care. The next week was silent. No texts from Patrick, but plenty from his parents calling me ungrateful, embarrassing, and unworthy. I tried talking to Patrick, but he ignored me every time. Eventually, exhausted and hurt, I caved. I apologized to him and his parents, even though it burned. But things only got worse. Patrick's parents retired soon after and started hosting weekly family dinners. Patrick insisted we go. The very first time, the moment I walked into their house, the room went quiet. Marley and his siblings avoided eye contact. Patrick greeted his family and walked away to catch up with them, leaving me standing alone like an outsider. Then Paula came downstairs, saw me, and practically launched herself at me. "What are you doing here?" she demanded. "Excuse me?" "No, I won't excuse you. Why are you in my house?" "You invited us to dinner." "Wrong. I invited Patrick. Family dinner. I'm his wife. That makes me part of the family, doesn't it?" "Absolutely not," she snapped. "An orphan like you has no place in this family. You thought you could hide that? We do background checks." I froze. "I don't see why being an orphan makes me lesser," I said carefully. "Because you're poor, ugly, and you could never fit into our elite circle," Paula snarled. "I will never accept you." "Why? Because I don't obsess over looks and money? Because I care about who people are? You never even tried to know me." Paula's eyes narrowed. "Patrick," she said sweetly, Give her some money and send her home. I turned to Patrick, expecting him to defend me. Instead, he shoved cash into my hand without looking at me. Take this. Get an Uber, he said coldly. Paula smirked. My heart broke. I walked out before I burst into tears. The Uber ride home was another mess of crying. Patrick had changed so much. This wasn't him. Or maybe, this was him. Maybe he just hid it well. When he got home, he ignored me again. Days passed. Then weeks. Silence. He expected me to apologize again. I couldn't. Not this time. 2 weeks later, on a night he was at another family dinner, my parents video called me. Hey, honey, Mom said warmly. I tried to smile, but my voice cracked. Hey, things aren't good. They asked what was wrong, and I finally broke down and told them everything about the humiliation, the insults, the orphan comment, Patrick defending them instead of me. My mother nearly exploded. I'm going to claw that woman's face off. Dad added, Sweetie, are you sure this is the man you want to be with? I love him, I whispered, but I don't want my life to look like this. My parents exchanged a look. Good, Dad said, because we're coming next week. We were planning a vacation with you too, but now, we'll just take you, and while we're there, we'll help you get a little sweet revenge. Huh? What do you mean? You'll see, Mom said with a mischievous smile. That call was the happiest I'd felt in months. The next week, they flew in, we had lunch together, then they sent me off to a spa day on them, while they handled the rest. And by rest, they meant confronting Patrick's entire family. At the restaurant where the weekly dinner was being held, my parents walked right up to their table. According to Dad, Paula and Marley instantly froze, recognizing him. Dad greeted them politely. Paula stuttered, starstruck. Marley tried to act important. Then Dad dropped the bomb. They asked about his daughter. Confused, they insisted Patrick's wife was an orphan named Ingrid. Dad calmly replied, yes, and that's why we adopted her. Paula turned white. Then Dad handed Patrick a stack of papers, my divorce papers. After he left, things fell apart quickly. Dad made a few phone calls, and suddenly Marley's business lost major investors. Their perfect reputation shattered overnight. Patrick signed the divorce papers without a fight. My parents took me on a long vacation afterward. I finally felt free. Yes, losing Patrick hurt, but losing myself would have hurt much more. I learned the most important lesson of my life. Love yourself enough to walk away when someone stops treating you with love. And thanks to my parents, I didn't just walk away, I walked away stronger.